Hey guys, how's it going, Companion? So yesterday there was a really interesting post about Hearthstone where one of the, I don't know, I guess something like a developer from China gave out some facts about what's going on in the future of Hearthstone, and it got translated, and apparently some of the facts were lost in translation. So it's really interesting when you hear terms like that in regard to future content of a game. But overall, there were still some solid points that did not get hit by the lost in translation crossout. I'll give you guys the link if you guys want to read the whole thing, 'cause there's a few things that I won't mention. But overall, it's really cool to see the direction that Blizzard is taking Hearthstone and seeing what you can expect in the future. So the first thing that is mentioned is that they're going to add like alternate figures for the classes. So for instance, for warrior, if you don't want to be a orc warrior, you can be a human warrior. You can be variant, for instance. So that's kind of the idea. And this is going to be what they like to refer to as like a paid feature. So it doesn't actually affect the game. It's a lot like the ethical microtransactions, stuff like that you've seen if you watch mainstream stuff, maybe in like PoE. It's pretty similar to that, where it has no competitive advantage, but it's pretty cool. And I'll probably pick up a few of these. They're not too expensive. I don't imagine they are. And so that was pretty cool. There's a few fluffy things like this, but some of the more relevant stuff is that they're going to release the game for iPad pretty soon. And that's really important because when this game comes out on iPad, it's going to be huge, as I've mentioned in a recent video, and as is pretty logical about what's going on. The other side of things that's really big is the way they're going to increase the card pool. So I've brought this up where instead of balancing and rebalancing and doing all this, which they said in this article that they'll stop doing very much of once the game is officially released. Now it's an open beta. So once it's officially released, they won't change the cards very much, but what they will do to increase the card pool is they're going to release them as a form of an expansion. So they said an additional 100 to 200 cards will be released all at once, and this will be considered an expansion type content patch. Now obviously it's a free game, they're not going to charge you for the expansion, but what will be pretty cool is because right now it's kind of like in the beta stage, and what you do in the beta gets kept through when the game launches. So what makes it a bit interesting is when they're going to test these cards, how exactly are they going to continue on your progress? Or maybe it won't be tested. Maybe the 100 to 200 cards that they launch an expansion will just be out right away, and the people who play a lot, the people who get it, the people who understand Hearthstone will just take full advantage of what's going on, and that should be a blast. Now there's a few other things here. They don't want to take anything outside of the Warcraft genre for the game, so this will always be a Warcraft type game. But let's be realistic, if this thing is hugely successful, and it kind of already is considering how much resources they put into it, most likely I would expect similar type of games being involved in the system. So they might have like a StarCraft version, or just a Blizzard version like they have with I think it's called Heroes of the Storm. There's going to be like fluffy shit like achievements. There's going to be more rewards added for a ladder. I don't know. There's a bunch of these points, but the main stuff that's really interesting is the stuff that I've discussed, where you can kind of see how they want to develop the game in the future. So if the game's going to stick around, and I'd imagine it will, it's going to be more than just one expansion. It's going to be several expansions. So eventually we're going to be dealing with lots of cards, and it should be really interesting to see how they all get released. The other stuff is the stuff that was lost in translation. There's a bunch of bogus stuff. There's one like spectator mode or something like that. And, while they said it's not really being worked on, let's be realistic. If people really demand a feature of a game, more than likely they're going to look into it once they've put aside a lot of the other stuff. So, while this stuff is apparently not legit, it may one day be. And the other thing that was probably the most exciting thing that was crossed off the list was the fact that this person did the interview mentioned that they are currently working on the Monk and Death Knight classes, and this was crossed out because apparently they're not working on the Monk and Death Knight classes. But it gives you the idea that it's been talked about. when you make a comment like this, it's not purely lost in translation. It's not like he was talking about what he had for breakfast and they wrote down, you know, they're making Monk and Death Knight classes. No, they were talking a little bit about it. It's something they're talking about. And what ends up happening with games, you know, as they grow, as they get more involved, when the developers, you know, do a lot of the things that they had planned, you know, they go to the next stage, the stuff that they've been talking about. And if this is one of the things that they've been talking about, which it seems like it is, we can probably expect it to happen one day. And that should be a pretty cool thing that I'm pretty excited to see. So really cool stuff. Hope you guys look forward to some of this content as much as I do. And I'll see you guys tomorrow.